The Ultimatum. The grand chamber of the Galactic Concordat fell silent as the doors swung open. Ambassador Sarah Chen of Earth strode in, her steps echoing against the polished floor. The assembled alien dignitaries watched with a mixture of curiosity and disdain as the human representative approached the central podium. Chen's face remained impassive, but her eyes burned with an intensity that made even the most stoic of the alien delegates shift uncomfortably in their seats. She took her place at the center of the room, surrounded by beings from 1,000 worlds, each more ancient and advanced than humanity. Esteemed members of the Galactic Concordat, Chen began, her voice steady and clear. I come before you today not as a supplicant, but as a harbinger. A murmur rippled through the chamber. That Axarlax's representative, a being of shimmering energy, leaned forward. Speak plainly, human. What message do you bring? Chen's gaze swept across the room, meeting the eyes, optical sensors, and various sensory organs of each delegate. For too long, humanity has endured your condescension, your exploitation, and your thinly veiled threats. We came to you in peace, offering friendship and cooperation. In return, you saw fit to treat us as children, unworthy of a place among the stars. The Volcran ambassador, a towering insectoid, chittered in amusement. And what would you have us do, young ones? Grant you technologies you are not ready for. Allow you to expand unchecked. We ask for nothing, Chen replied, her voice taking on a dangerous edge. We are done asking. We are done pleading. We are done being pawns in your cosmic game. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of protests and exclamations. Chen raised her hand, and to the surprise of many, the room fell silent once more. Humanity has watched and waited as you've stripped our colonies of resources, blockaded our trade routes, and interfered in our internal affairs. You thought us weak, divided, and easily manipulated. You were wrong. She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. This is not a negotiation. This is not a threat. This is a promise. If you continue to stand in our way, if you persist in your efforts to keep us shackled and subservient, then know this: your worlds will burn. Gasps and cries of outrage filled the air. The Praxian delegate, a being of living crystal, shattered and reformed in agitation. You dare threaten the Concordat? You, whose civilization has barely left its cradle. Chen's expression remained unchanged. We dare, because unlike you, we have nothing to lose and everything to gain. You've backed us into a corner, and now you'll learn what humanity does when we have no other choice. She reached into her pocket and produced a small, unremarkable device. With a press of a button, holographic displays flickered to life around the chamber, showing images that made even the most hardened of the alien delegates recoil. These are the weapons we've developed in secret, Chen explained, her voice devoid of emotion. Antimatter bombs capable of reducing planets to asteroid fields. Nanite swarms that can strip entire civilizations of their technology in hours. Wormhole destabilizers that can cut off your precious hyperlanes. The Arconian Patriarch, oldest and wisest of the Concordat members, rose from his seat. This is madness. Ambassador Chen, you speak of galactic war, of destruction on an unimaginable scale. Surely we can find a peaceful peace. Chen interrupted, her composure finally cracking. We tried peace. We extended our hands in friendship, and you slapped them away. Now we extend our fists, and you will learn to respect them. She turned off the holographic display and pocketed the device. You have one standard galactic week to withdraw all forces from human-controlled space, to lift all sanctions and trade restrictions, and to formally recognize Earth as a sovereign power with all the rights and privileges thereof. The chamber erupted once more, but Chen's voice cut through the chaos like a plasma torch through hull plating. If these demands are not met, we will consider it an act of war. And make no mistake, it will be a war unlike any you have ever seen. We may be young, we may be fewer in number, but we will fight with a ferocity that will shake the very foundations of your millennia-old empires." As she turned to leave, that XRLAX representative called out, "And if we refuse? If we unite against you?" Chen paused at the door, looking back over her shoulder. "Then your worlds will burn, just as I promised. And from the ashes, humanity will rise to claim its rightful place among the stars." With that, she exited the chamber, leaving behind a stunned silence that seemed to stretch across the galaxy itself. As the doors closed behind her, Chen allowed herself a small, grim smile. The die was cast. Whether the Concordat believed her bluff or not, humanity's fate now rested on a knife's edge. She touched the communicator on her wrist, speaking softly but firmly. "This is Ambassador Chen. The message has been delivered. Initiate Operation Prometheus. Across the vast expanse of space, on hidden bases and secret shipyards, humanity's true strength stirred to life. The Galactic Concordat had 1 week to decide the fate of 1,000 worlds. The clock was ticking, and the stars themselves held their breath. First strike. Admiral Kira Donovan stood on the bridge of the HSS Leonidas, Earth's most advanced warship, hidden in the shadow of a gas giant in the Proxima Centauri system. Her eyes were fixed on the holographic display showing the countdown timer. 0:00. 3:21. 3 hours and 21 minutes until the Galactic Concordat's deadline expired. "Status report," she barked, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's future. Her XO, Commander Jack Harper, responded crisply. "All systems green. Admiral, the fleet is in position and awaiting your command." Donovan nodded, her expression grim. The past week had been a whirlwind of activity as Earth's hidden fleets emerged from their cosmic hiding places, assembling for what could be the most significant military action in human history. "Any word from diplomatic channels?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. Harper shook his head. "Nothing official, ma'am. The Concordat seems to be calling our bluff." A humorless chuckle escaped Donovan's lips. More fool them. As the timer ticked down, Donovan reflected on the years of preparation that had led to this moment. While the Concordat saw humans as primitive upstarts, they had grossly underestimated humanity's capacity for innovation and determination. Every slight, every restriction, every condescending interaction had only fueled Earth's resolve to prove itself. The bridge fell silent as the final minutes approached. Donovan took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. "Open a channel to the fleet," she ordered. Harper complied, and Donovan's voice echoed across hundreds of ships, reaching thousands of human ears waiting in tense anticipation. "Men and women of the Earth Defense Fleet, this is Admiral Donovan. In moments, we will embark on a mission that will define the future of our species. The Galactic Concordat has had ample time to reconsider their stance towards humanity. Their silence speaks volumes." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Our target is Outpost Omega, the Concordat's primary staging area for their operations against our colonies. By striking here, we send a clear message. Humanity will no longer tolerate being treated as second-class citizens of the galaxy." The timer reached 0, and Donovan's voice hardened. "All ships, execute jump sequence. Operation Prometheus is a go. Good hunting, and Godspeed." In perfect synchronization, the human fleet vanished into the folds of space-time, leaving behind nothing but the echoes of their engines. Moments later, they emerged from hyperspace in high orbit around Outpost Omega. The massive space station, a gleaming testament to the Concordat's power, hung suspended against the backdrop of a blue-green world. For a brief instant, there was silence. Then, all hell broke loose. "Launch EMPs," Donovan commanded. Dozens of sleek missiles streaked towards the outpost, detonating in brilliant flashes of light. The station's shields flickered and died, its lights going dark as the electromagnetic pulse fried its systems. "First wave, engage. Disable their defenses and communication arrays. Second wave, prepare for boarding actions." The human ships swarmed the helpless outpost, their weapons precisely targeting key systems. Unlike the indiscriminate destruction the Concordat might have expected, this was a surgical strike. On the station, alarms blared as the alien inhabitants scrambled to respond to the unexpected attack. But their advanced technology, usually a source of superiority, now betrayed them. Systems failed, weapons remained unresponsive, and panic began to set in. "Admiral," Harper called out, "we're detecting a distress signal. It's weak, but it's getting through our jamming." Donovan nodded. "As expected. Let them call for help. By the time it arrives, we'll be long gone." The battle, if it could be called that, was over in minutes. Human boarding parties, clad in advanced exosuits that the Concordat had never seen before, breached the station's hull and swiftly neutralized any resistance. "Ma'am," a communications officer reported, "Colonel Rice is on the line from inside the station." "Put him through," Donovan ordered. The gruff voice of Colonel Rice filled the bridge. "Admiral, we've secured the command center and primary data cores. Minimal casualties on both sides." "You were right. They were completely unprepared for this." "Excellent work, Colonel. Begin data extraction and prepare for evacuation. We're on a tight schedule." As her forces worked with practiced efficiency, Donovan allowed herself a moment of reflection. This was only the beginning, a demonstration of what humanity could do when pushed too far. But she took no joy in it. The path ahead would be difficult, bloody, and would likely change the face of the galaxy forever. "Admiral," Harper interrupted her thoughts, "long-range sensors are picking up multiple signatures entering the system. It looks like a Concordat rapid response fleet." Donovan's eyes narrowed. "Right on time. Prepare for Phase 2. As the Concordat fleet approached, expecting to find a ragtag group of human marauders, they instead faced a disciplined and well-prepared armada. Donovan's voice rang out across the human ships once more. "All units, execute Maneuver Theta. Let's show them what we can do." The human fleet moved with a coordination that stunned the incoming Concordat forces. Ships that appeared to be easy targets suddenly revealed advanced shielding technology. Weapons that should have been decades beyond human capability lashed out, crippling Concordat vessels with pinpoint accuracy. In the midst of the chaos, the HSS Leonidas and its escort ships broke away, creating a corridor through which the boarding parties evacuated from Outpost Omega, carrying with them terabytes of invaluable intelligence. As the last human ship cleared the engagement zone, Donovan gave her final order of the battle. "Initiate Operation Blackout." From the bowels of the Leonidas, a singular missile launched. It streaked towards Outpost Omega, impacting with little visible effect. But within moments, a wave of darkness spread across the station and the surrounding Concordat ships. Lights flickered and died, engines sputtered to a halt, and even the most basic systems failed. The human fleet, unaffected by the technological blackout, jumped to hyperspace, leaving behind a tableau of destruction and confusion that would send shockwaves through the galactic Concordat. As the Leonidas settled into its escape vector, Harper approached Donovan. "Admiral, it worked perfectly. The Concordat never knew what hit them." Donovan's expression remained stern. "This was the easy part, Commander. We've kicked the hornet's nest. Now we need to be ready for the swarm." She turned to address her bridge crew, her voice filled with resolve. "Send word to Earth. Operation Prometheus was a success. Tell them the real war begins now." As the stars streaked by outside, humanity's first strike against the galactic Concordat faded into the distance, but its echoes would resonate across the cosmos, heralding the arrival of a new power that refused to be ignored. The galaxy would never be the same again. Alien counterattack. The galactic Concordat's central command was in chaos. Holograms flickered, showing the devastation at Outpost Omega and the inexplicable technological failure that had crippled their response fleet. The Arconian Patriarch, his ancient features etched with worry, addressed the emergency session. "We have gravely underestimated the humans," he intoned, his multi-tone voice resonating through the chamber. "Their attack was precise, calculated, and utilized technology we believe to be centuries beyond their capability." That Karlak's representative, still shimmering with agitation, spoke up. "We must crush this rebellion immediately. The humans have revealed their hand. Now we shall show them the true might of the Concordat." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly, but the Volcran ambassador chittered in caution. "We must not act rashly. The humans have proven themselves more formidable than we anticipated. Perhaps negotiations." "Negotiations," the Praxian delegate interrupted, his crystalline form pulsing with anger. "They attacked us unprovoked. We will show them the consequences of such audacity." As the debate raged on, light years away, humanity braced for the coming storm. On Earth, in the underground war room of the Global Defense Initiative, Ambassador Sarah Chen stood before a panel of military and civilian leaders. The atmosphere was tense, a mixture of elation at their initial success and apprehension about what was to come. Operation Prometheus was a resounding success. Chen reported, her voice steady. "We've demonstrated our capabilities and acquired invaluable intelligence. But make no mistake, the Concordat will retaliate, and they will do so with everything they have." General Miguel Santos, the grizzled head of Earth's combined military forces, leaned forward. "What's our next move, Ambassador? We've thrown the first punch, but we can't hope to stand toe-to-toe with the entire Concordat in a prolonged conflict." Chen's eyes gleamed with determination. "We don't have to, General. Thanks to the data retrieved from Outpost Omega, we now have detailed information on the Concordat's primary shipyards, supply lines, and command structures. We hit them hard and fast, again and again, before they can bring their full might to bear." As the leaders debated strategy, alarms blared throughout the facility. A young officer burst into the room, his face pale. "Sir, ma'am, we're detecting multiple hyperspatial ruptures in the outer solar system. It's the Concordat. They're here." Admiral Kira Donovan stood on the bridge of the HSS Leonidas, watching as the massive Concordat armada emerged from hyperspace. The alien ships, a dizzying array of designs representing dozens of species, dwarfed the human fleet in both size and number. "They're hailing us, Admiral," Commander Harper reported, his voice tense. Donovan nodded. On screen, the holographic display flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of Arch Commander Zexterra, the Concordat's supreme military leader. His four eyes narrowed as he regarded Donovan. "Humans," Zexterra's voice boomed, translated perfectly by the ship's systems. "Your unprovoked attack on Outpost Omega constitutes an act of war against the galactic Concordat. Surrender now, and we may yet show mercy." Donovan's expression remained impassive. "Arch Commander, we gave you our terms. Your presence here is answer enough. There will be no surrender." Zexterra's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "Then you have chosen extinction. We will." Donovan cut the transmission with a gesture. "Battle stations. All hands, prepare for combat." The human fleet, vastly outnumbered, formed up in a defensive formation around Earth. As the Concordat ships advanced, Donovan's voice rang out across the comms. "This is the moment we've prepared for. Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. The Concordat thinks they're here to punish us. Let's show them the true cost of underestimating humanity." The space between the fleets lit up with weapons fire. Concordat ships unleashed salvos of energy weapons and graviton torpedoes, expecting to quickly overwhelm the human defenses. But to their shock, many of their shots went wide, missing their targets entirely. "Quantum interference grid is holding, Admiral," Harper reported. "Their targeting systems are in disarray." Donovan allowed herself a grim smile. "Good. Commence Operation Hydra." The human fleet suddenly split apart, smaller, nimbler ships darting between the lumbering Concordat vessels. Each human ship became a whirlwind of activity, jamming communications, disrupting shields, and firing pinpoint shots at critical systems. Aboard the Concordat flagship, Zek's terror raged as reports flooded in. Impossible. How are they predicting our movements? Why can't we lock onto their ships? The answer came in a devastating form. From the dark side of Earth's moon, hidden installations revealed themselves, unleashing a barrage of missiles. But these were no ordinary projectiles. As they approached the Concordat fleet, they split apart, each warhead becoming a swarm of miniature drones. Nanite swarms detected. A Concordat officer cried out in panic. They're breaching our hulls. Across the Concordat armada, ships began to lose power as the nanites infiltrated their systems, disabling weapons, shields, and engines with terrifying efficiency. The carefully orchestrated attack turned into chaos as alien crews fought against an enemy they couldn't see or understand. Donovan watched the battle unfold, her heart heavy despite their success. "Begin evacuation procedures," she ordered. "Get as many civilians off-world as we can." Harper looked at her in surprise. "Admiral, this is just the first wave. Commander, we've bloodied their nose, but the Concordat won't stop here. They'll be back, and in greater numbers." As if to punctuate her words, a massive energy signature suddenly flared at the edge of the solar system. A new wave of Concordat ships began to emerge from hyperspace, led by a vessel that dwarfed even their largest battlecruisers. "Mother of God," Harper breathed. "What is that?" Donovan's eyes narrowed. "That, Commander, is why we have a Phase 2. Send the signal to Luna Base. It's time to unveil Project Excalibur." Deep beneath the lunar surface, in a cavern shielded from all known forms of detection, a machine of impossible complexity hummed to life. It was the product of decades of secret research, reverse-engineered alien technology, combined with humanity's relentless innovation. As the new Concordat fleet advanced, a beam of coherent energy lanced out from the moon, carving through space itself. The massive alien dreadnought, pride of the Concordat armada, found itself engulfed in a localized space-time distortion. In a matter of seconds, the ship that had taken centuries to build was torn apart, its fragments scattered across multiple dimensions. The battle paused as both sides grappled with what they had just witnessed. Donovan's voice, transmitted across all frequencies, broke the silence. "Attention, Concordat forces. You have witnessed but a fraction of what we are capable of. Withdraw now or face annihilation." For a moment, it seemed the tide had turned. But then, from the heart of the shattered dreadnought, a signal pulsed outward. The remaining Concordat ships, their systems suddenly restored, resumed their advance with renewed vigor. Donovan's eyes widened in realization. "It was a trap," she murmured. "They sacrificed their flagship to neutralize our greatest weapon." As alarms blared across the human fleet, Donovan steeled herself for what was to come. The real battle for Earth's survival was only just beginning. "All ships, fall back to secondary positions," she commanded. "Activate the Lazarus Protocol. It's time to show the Concordat why you should never corner a human." The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath as humanity prepared to make its final stand. The turning point. The void around Earth blazed with the fury of two civilizations locked in mortal combat. The Concordat's vast armada pressed its advantage, their ships an unstoppable tide of metal and energy washing over humanity's defenses. Yet for every human vessel lost, the aliens paid a steep price in blood and steel. Admiral Kira Donovan stood resolute on the bridge of the HSS Leonidas, her uniform stained with soot, a gash across her forehead testament to the ferocity of the battle. "Status report," she demanded, her voice hoarse from hours of issuing commands. Commander Harper, his own face etched with exhaustion, responded grimly. "We've lost 30% of our fleet. Admiral, Luna Base is offline, and our orbital defenses are at critical levels. Earth's atmospheric shield is holding, but it's only a matter of time." Donovan nodded, her mind racing through possibilities. "And the Lazarus Protocol. Ready to initiate on your command," Harper confirmed, a hint of uncertainty in his voice. "But Admiral, are we sure about this? Once we activate it, there's no going back." Donovan's eyes met Harper's, her gaze steely with determination. "We're out of options, Jack. It's time to remind the Concordat why they should have heeded our warning." She turned to address the bridge crew, her voice carrying across the ship-wide comm system. "All hands, this is Admiral Donovan. In moments, we will activate the Lazarus Protocol. May whatever gods you believe in have mercy on our souls." With a nod to Harper, Donovan gave the final command. "Initiate Lazarus." Deep within the Earth's crust, hidden bunkers thrummed to life. Across the planet, massive generators began to spin up, drawing upon the very core of the Earth itself. In space, the human fleet suddenly disengaged, pulling back to form a tight defensive sphere around their homeworld. Arch Commander Zexterra, watching from the bridge of his new flagship, chittered in triumph. "The humans retreat. Press the attack. Let us end this rebellion once and for all." But as the Concordat ships surged forward, the unthinkable happened. Earth itself began to glow, a blue-white radiance that quickly intensified to near-stellar levels. Gravitational sensors across the alien fleet screamed warnings as space-time itself began to warp and twist. By the first ones, Zexterra breathed, his 4 eyes widening in horror. What have they done? In a blinding flash, Earth vanished. Where the cradle of humanity once stood, there was nothing but empty space. The Concordat fleet, caught in the gravitational backlash, was thrown into disarray, ships colliding and weapons firing wildly in the chaos. Moments later, alarms blared across the alien armada. Earth had reappeared, but not where it had been. Somehow, impossibly, the entire planet had transported itself to the outskirts of the solar system. Aboard the Leonidas, Donovan allowed herself a grim smile. Phase 1 complete. All ships, execute attack pattern Omega. Show no mercy. The human fleet, now appearing behind the scattered Concordat forces, launched a devastating assault. Ships that had been modified in secret, their hulls now bristling with weaponry reverse-engineered from Concordat technology, tore into the alien fleet with savage efficiency. Zexterra, struggling to reorganize his forces, received a transmission from the Leonidas. Admiral Donovan's face appeared on his view screen, her expression a mask of cold determination. "Arch Commander," she said, her voice laden with the weight of countless lives lost, "we warned you that your worlds would burn. We gave you every opportunity to withdraw, to treat us as equals. You chose war. Now witness the consequence of your choice." With a gesture, Donovan cut the transmission. Zexterra watched in growing horror as Earth began to glow once more. This time, tendrils of energy lashed out from the planet, reaching across vast distances to touch key Concordat worlds. One by one, the centers of alien power winked out of existence, transported to unknown reaches of space. The battle around Earth quickly turned into a rout. Concordat ships, their command structure in tatters and their homeworlds vanished, began to retreat en masse. Those that surrendered were swiftly boarded and captured by human forces wielding technology that mere hours ago would have been thought impossible. As the last of the Concordat ships fled or surrendered, a stunned silence fell over the battlefield. Commander Harper turned to Admiral Donovan, his voice barely above a whisper. We did it. We actually did it." Donovan nodded, the weight of command still heavy on her shoulders. "This battle is won, Jack. But the war has only just begun." Across what remained of the Concordat's vast empire, the news spread like wildfire. Humanity, the upstart species that had been dismissed as primitive and weak, had not only defeated the greatest armada ever assembled, but had also fundamentally altered the galaxy's political landscape in a matter of hours. On Earth, as the planet settled back into its original orbit, the mood was far from celebratory. The cost of victory had been steep, with millions dead and vast swathes of the planet's surface devastated by the energies unleashed during the Lazarus Protocol. In the underground war room of the Global Defense Initiative, Ambassador Sarah Chen addressed the weary leaders of humanity. The Concordat has been broken, but we cannot afford to rest. We must press our advantage, secure our place in the galaxy, and prepare for the inevitable counterattack. General Santos, his uniform still smoldering from a close call during the battle, nodded in agreement. We've shown the galaxy what happens when humanity is pushed too far. Now we need to show them what we can offer as allies rather than enemies. As plans were made and orders given, a transmission came through on a frequency that hadn't been used in decades. The assembled leaders fell silent as a familiar yet impossible voice filled the room. This is Captain Elena Volkov of the long-range exploration vessel Magellan. We've received word of Earth's victory. We're inbound with friends. Humanity is not alone in its struggle against the Concordat. Prepare for first contact with the resistance. Ambassador Chen's eyes widened as the implications set in. The Magellan had been lost over 50 years ago, presumed destroyed on its mission to push beyond the edges of known space. Its return now, at this pivotal moment, could change everything. As the war room erupted into a flurry of activity, Chen shared a knowing look with Admiral Donovan, who had just arrived from orbit. The galaxy was entering a new age, one shaped by humanity's defiance and determination. The coming days would determine whether this new era would be one of peace and cooperation or of continued conflict on an unimaginable scale. The battle for Earth was over, but the struggle for the future of the galaxy had only just begun. And humanity, bloody but unbowed, stood ready to meet whatever challenges lay ahead. Unexpected allies. The return of the Magellan sent shockwaves through what remained of Earth's leadership. As the long-lost ship descended through the atmosphere, escorted by vessels of unmistakably alien design, the world held its breath. Humanity, battered but victorious, stood on the precipice of a new era. Ambassador Sarah Chen, Admiral Kira Donovan, and a contingent of Earth's highest-ranking officials gathered at the newly repurposed Galileo spaceport. As the Magellan touched down, its hull bearing scars of untold adventures, the assembled crowd watched in awe as the airlock cycled open. Captain Elena Volkov emerged, her once dark hair now streaked with silver, her eyes carrying the weight of half a century's worth of experiences beyond human understanding. Behind her came a procession of beings that defied easy description, some humanoid, others decidedly not, all bearing the unmistakable air of allies united against a common foe. Volkov approached the welcoming committee, snapping a crisp salute that belied her years away from Earth. Ambassador, Admiral, she greeted, her voice strong despite its age. May I present the leaders of the galactic resistance? As introductions were made, it became clear that the universe was far more complex and far more populated than humanity had ever imagined. The resistance, it turned out, was composed of species who had suffered under the Concordat's rule for millennia, biding their time and gathering strength for the moment when the galactic order could be challenged. In a hastily convened council chamber, representatives from Earth and the resistance shared their stories. The aliens spoke of ancient prophecies that foretold the coming of a young race who would shatter the chains of oppression. Humanity's defiance of the Concordat had been the spark that ignited a galaxy-wide revolution. Admiral Donovan, her tactical mind already racing with possibilities, leaned forward. With all due respect, she began, addressing a being that appeared to be composed entirely of shimmering energy. Why wait until now to reveal yourselves? We could have avoided so much bloodshed if we united our forces from the beginning. The energy being, who had introduced itself as Shivorak, pulsed with what might have been regret. The prophecy was clear, Admiral. The young race had to prove its worth alone, to demonstrate the strength that would inspire others to rise. Your victory over the Concordat has done what centuries of hidden resistance could not. It has given hope to the oppressed across the galaxy. Ambassador Chen, ever the diplomat, saw an opportunity. Then let us not waste this moment. The Concordat is weakened, but not destroyed. Together, We can forge a new galactic order, one built on cooperation and mutual respect rather than domination. As discussions continued late into the night, plans were laid for a counter-offensive against what remained of the Concordat's forces. The resistance brought to the table technologies and strategies honed by centuries of covert warfare, while humanity offered its indomitable spirit and the game-changing Lazarus Protocol. Weeks passed, and the combined fleet of humanity and the resistance pushed deeper into former Concordat space. World after world was liberated, populations rising up against their former masters as news of Earth's victory spread. The Concordat, once thought invincible, crumbled in the face of this unprecedented alliance. Finally, after a campaign that reshaped the political landscape of the galaxy, the last bastion of the Concordat fell. In the Grand Chamber where, not so long ago, Ambassador Chen had delivered humanity's ultimatum, a new gathering took place. Representatives from hundreds of species, both former members of the Concordat and long-hidden races of the Resistance, convened to shape the future of galactic civilization. At the center of it all stood humanity, no longer the upstart newcomers, but the catalysts of a new age. Admiral Donovan, her uniform now bearing the insignia of the combined fleet, addressed the assembly. "We stand here today, not as conquerors, but as liberators. The old order has fallen, and it falls to us to build something better in its place." Ambassador Chen stepped forward, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's journey from obscurity to galactic significance. "Let this be an era of cooperation, of shared knowledge and mutual growth. We have seen the cost of oppression and the power of unity. Together, we can forge a future brighter than any single race could achieve alone." As the delegates debated and negotiated, a new galactic charter began to take shape. The principles of self-determination, mutual defense, and open exchange of knowledge formed the cornerstone of this fledgling alliance. The scars left by the Concordat's rule would take generations to heal, but for the first time in millennia, the galaxy looked to the future with hope rather than fear. Months later, on a restored Earth that now served as a nexus of interstellar diplomacy, Admiral Donovan stood before a memorial to those lost in the war. Ambassador Chen joined her, both women contemplating the cost of their victory. "Do you think we did the right thing, Sarah?" Donovan asked, her voice quiet. "We promised them their worlds would burn, and in a way we delivered on that promise. We've changed the face of the galaxy forever." Chen was silent for a long moment before responding. "We did what we had to do, Kira. We fought for our right to exist, to be treated as equals. In doing so, we freed countless others from oppression. The galaxy burned, yes, but from those ashes, something new and beautiful is emerging." As if to punctuate her words, a ship of alien design streaked across the sky, its hull gleaming in the sunlight. It was one of many now, Earth having become a hub of interstellar traffic and cultural exchange. "Our children will inherit a very different universe than the one we were born into," Donovan mused. Chen nodded, a smile playing at her lips. "And they'll have opportunities we never dreamed of. We've given them the stars, Kira. Now it's up to them to decide what to do with them." As the two leaders turned to leave, their path lit by the glow of a setting sun and the lights of 1,000 alien vessels in orbit, the memorial stood as a silent reminder. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. The warning they had given, "Your worlds will burn," had indeed come to pass, but from the ashes of the old order, a new and brighter galaxy had been born. The story of humanity's rise from obscurity to galactic prominence would be told for generations to come. It would serve as a reminder of the power of determination, the strength found in unity, and the unpredictable nature of a universe where even the youngest of races could reshape the destiny of all. As night fell on Earth, the stars seemed to shine brighter than ever before, no longer distant and unreachable, but a promise of adventures yet to come. Humanity had taken its place among the cosmos, and the galaxy would never be the same again.